So you might be wondering, why is my nose a little bit bent? Now, it could be because I'm a wog, but I also think it's because my sport's boxing. I train out of Fortitude Boxing Gym, and I have the privilege of being surrounded by some of the top boxers in Australia, and many pros train out of this gym. It's run by Steve Della and Luke Meldon, and some of the best boxing coaches in Australia. And I was lucky enough to sit down with Jake Wyllie, who's a current pro that fights out of Fortitude. Jake is a top dude from the small town of Warwick, where he's heart on his sleeve, is one hell of a fighter. Jake's story is pretty awesome. So here's my interview with Jake Wyllie. Sweet, man. Jake
Right.
Wyllie.
Here we go.
Here we go. So, brother, why do you do what you do?
Mate, I love the sport. I've been doing boxing since I was 13 years old. I originally started with rugby league. Did boxing just to keep fit. And yeah, I went on to have like 95 amateur fights, and here I am today.
Holy, 95 over how long?
It was a period of about 8 years. I was doing like full-time amateur boxing, obviously with school and stuff as well.
When did you know that boxing was like what you wanted to pursue?
Probably of the age of about 14 and 15. I'd been doing it for a couple of years, racked up a few early wins, and I thought, boxing, I want to be something. The more videos I watched of it, of world champions and stuff like that, I just wanted to be exactly that, a professional fighter. I mean, you look at me, a lot of people look at me and go, mate, you do not look like a boxer, but it's just something that I've just got in me that I love, and I'm one man outside of the ring. I step in the ring and I just turn into a completely different person. It's kill or be killed in there. I really believe that. You probably see me inspiring. I take things a little bit too far sometimes. Things get a bit heated, but
It's
just
like sparring session.
yeah. Always turning it up. I love that, and I love blood, and I like causing pain.
That's sick, dude. Do you reckon that having that league background was a good foundation for like your body, your mental state going into boxing?
I believe so. I mean, especially my old man, I always sort of grew up, he's sort of hard on me in the right way, like especially when it came to sport. We always had the attitude of like, you fall off a horse, you get back on and go again. So I think I've just carried that through my whole life with everything that I've done. I mean, I certainly got injured more times playing rugby league than I did boxing, that's for sure.
When coming from like a small town boxing and then moving into the city, did you find that transition hard?
Yeah, most definitely. The transition was hard, but at the end of the day, and that's what I'll probably talk about later, is taking that leap and believing in yourself. Growing up in a small country town, you're comfortable, everything's there, you know all the people, they all know you, you're well supported, but you're only going to get so far when you're in a small country town, and to be able to go to that next level, you have to jump out of the comfort zone and face fear right in the eyes.
Did you notice a difference in the quality of fighters when you started fighting people from outside or fighting more people from the city? It was like a step up maybe?
Yeah, it was a step up. Well, the gym that I had at Warwick Boxing, it was a brilliant club. I had a brilliant trainer in Damien Lawler, and I got plenty of good sparring and great training. He's a great trainer, and I hadn't sort of no one on my level there, and I needed to be around like the high quality sparring and other boys in a gym that push you along, and you got to roll with them and want to be better.
And how did you find Fortitude?
Well, I've always known of Fortitude. My brother Kenny, he went to boarding school down here, and sometimes on a weekend or through the week he'd come in and train. So when I was sort of like 14, 15, I knew of Steve and I knew of Luke, and when I'd come down and see him on school holidays or something, I'd always go into the gym and have a train. But I never thought one day I'd end up here. But when the time was to come, I looked at all of the gyms around Brisbane, and I wanted to make sure once I'm at home, I'm at home. I don't leave. So I had to make sure that when I made the move, it was the right move. And I look at other trainers and other gyms, and I just thought and I believed that Fortitude would be the place for me to take my career to the next level. You look at Steve and Luke, and the pedigree of fighters they've had over the years, and the amount of time Luke and Steve have been together, and I don't think in Australian boxing, if not the world, there'd be two more experienced men than Luke Meldon and Steve Deller.
Absolutely. Who's your current coach?
Luke.
Luke's coach.
Luke's my main coach, and Steve helps Luke a lot. But yeah, they work together and they make one.
And did you choose Luke specifically, or that just happened organically coming here?
I'd say it happened organically, like being here, sort of, Steve's always, giving Luke pointers and then Luke helps me out, and we just make like the right style that suits me. So we worked on that. The first few months I came, because again, and their experience, they didn't try and change me straight away into the fighter they wanted me to be. We're gradually working. We're still working today on it. So every day I'm wanting to get better.
If you were someone that's like, when you were starting out, what's some advice you would give to someone to start boxing or like wanting to pursue it as a career?
Yeah, it's a brilliant sport. It's a tough sport. It's definitely a sport not for the faint-hearted. You've got to be tough. You got to be willing, but at the same token, you got to have that drive and have something behind you that. Well, where do you get success from? Like you're gonna have to grind. Have faith in yourself. Be willing to get out of your comfort zone, fight in different places, different countries, meet different people, and it's all character building. It's what makes a man.
Do you reckon you're an introvert?
Yeah, most definitely. I think, especially growing up, I'm a twin brother. I got a twin brother, and he's extrovert. He's always talking. He's a bit more out there than me, and growing up, he sort of did all of the talking for me. It was things like at school, show and tell. I'd always sit like 1 and 2, like.
Do it as a team.
Yeah, Kenny, like you do it, and he'd get up like year 1. He'd get up and do my show and tell for me, and I suppose he was talking for me, and over a period of time, I was a bit silent in some ways.
What helped you develop, like you're saying you need to have that drive and put yourself out there? How did you do that as an extrovert?
I grew confidence.
As an introvert.
Yeah, I grew confidence in boxing. That's where I found myself, and I never, from the moment I walked into the Warwick Boxing Club that first day, I knew, like, I just loved it. I really did. I loved the sport, and I found a real grounding for it. I never stopped going ever since. I had no mates that were doing it. I had my brother that would do it on and off, because he'd always sneak downtown or something, but I would always go to the gym, and one thing led to another, and I thought, I want to give this sport a crack, so I gave up football.
Nice, man. What are you working on at the moment that excites you?
Lots of things. I've got the facilities now with Luke and Steve, a great gym, a great team behind me, great sponsors. So, everything's there at my feet. I'm willing to do the work. I want to do the work, but obviously the end goal is world titles. And it's not, I say titles because I don't want to win the world title and that be it. That's a dream come true. I want to retain it, keep defending it. And I'm still young. I've got plenty of time to do it. But while I'm saying young and I've got plenty of time it travels fast. So I'm on a mission to accomplish something great here.
What's that mission look like? Have you got a set path, got a plan in your head, or is it sort of as the fights come, you're just gonna have to take it like that?
Take it as it comes. Well, that's what my career's been like so far. So I can't put in play like who I want to fight, when I want to fight exactly, because as we know, boxing is not all smooth sailing. So, for me, it's just turning up to work every day, putting in the hours. Steve's a great manager. Luke's a brilliant coach. So with those two behind me, and as long as I can, keep my head screwed on my shoulders and put my absolute 110% into training, the sky's the limit.
What's your training regime look like at the moment?
Mate, lots of running, lots of cardio, lots of sparring. Sparring's what conditions you, so that gets you ready for fights mentally and physically. So I'm a big believer in that, and also my running is what keeps me fit.
As a pro then, and running as a key component of your training at the moment, how much running? What do you do?
Well, for my last fight, actually I forgot to give a mention to David Tuff. So Tuffy, he's my strength and conditioning trainer, and he's also done me up a running program. So for that last ride, I did like interval running. Man, it got my heart rate like. Sometimes I got to my best I ever got to it was 193. I'm trying to push for 200, but yeah, I couldn't get it. But that really pushed me mentally and physically. So same as a fight. So I've been doing that, but I love my long runs. When I go home to Warwick, there's a great run from my hometown Warwick to another little town, Yangan. So 21 kilometres, nice and flat, beautiful scenery. So I like to get that in every couple of times a year when I go home.
21 k's one way. Do you run back?
No. I haven't done that. I haven't done that yet. But after my last fight at the start of the year, I went home the next week, and it was good to be home, especially after a loss like that. And I thought, you know what, it was sort of coming into winter. The weather was beautiful, and I said to my partner, I said, I'm going to do the run that I've done a couple of times, and I did it. And it clears the mind. You can think. It's just a beautiful thing.
So you don't run with music?
Yeah, I do run with music. Yeah, I feel like, yeah. But the scenery out there is unbelievable. It's really good.
Have you tried running without music?
Yeah, I have. I can't stand the sound of my own breath and the footsteps.
Your internal scream.
Yeah. Well, the first time I did the run, I was 16 years old. It was 21 kilometers. I did not train one little bit to do a half marathon. And I said to my dad, I said, every time the Pentath came to Warwick, I'd say to Dad, I said, I'm going to run. But I'd always do like the 5 or the 10K. And this time I said, I would do the 21. Mate, it's expensive. Like, it's not cheap. If you're going to do 21Ks, can you actually do it? I said, yeah, I'll be able to do it. But I get there at the starting line, there would have been like a couple of hundred people there warming up, serious sunglasses on. I sort of get there in my footy shorts, wriggle the shoulders, a few swings of the legs, and away I go. My time was like an hour 44 at 16 years old. Got to the finish line, but I remember I got to the 18-kilometre mark, and this guy, it must have been a good runner beside me, and he came up, he's like, mate, how you going, young fella? He's like, you're doing bloody well. He's like, I've never seen a kid so young doing this. I started crying. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't talk. I'm so sore. When's the finish line? Like, it was so hard. Yeah.
My mate, he's a mad runner. Like, that's his sport.
Yeah.
Run all his life. He could be a professional runner if he wanted to.
Wow.
And he does distance.
Yeah.
And he done 100K, 100K or 101K in Victoria, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he's running with the race leader at and they cross the marathon.
Yeah.
Watch goes off, and he's like, the lead's like, what? It's the furthest I've ever run. And the lead's like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I've never ran more than a marathon, so we'll just see what the rest looks like.
Oh my God.
Third out of the men's and fifth overall against these people that like their sport is ultra marathons, like, and that's not something you can just walk into.
Superman.
Oh
my God.
Man, he's a freak. Like,
I need to meet him.
he like when we were in the army together, we're all there hardcore.
Yeah.
And you look over at this freak, and he's smiling. Like the worst.
Yeah, mental.
Like
Yeah.
he's just twisted.
That's unbelievable.
Hardest mentality.
Yeah. And that's what it comes down to, is the mentality of things. Like, I suppose anything's scary. Every goal is scary, but it's like your mate, looks at his watch and goes, let's pass the half marathon. Like, he continues on to do 100 kilometers. That's awesome.
What would you tell your younger self?
Going back to what I spoke about before, is taking that leap out of your comfort zone. Obviously, I grew up in a small town. I think Warwick's, to be lucky to be 15,000 people there, but it is such a good community and a small town, and you get a lot of backing, and a lot of people know you. So for me, I didn't want to leave. Everything was comfortable. I had a brilliant coach, brilliant people behind me, but I knew in my own heart that if I wanted to get to that next level and I wanted to become a world champion, I couldn't do it in Warwick, working 9 to 5, or working the hours I was working. So I had to come to Brisbane, and that was daunting in itself. A lot of people think, I just left the town and they won't see me again, but it's a hard thing to be able to do, and I want people to understand that. But I'm here now, I'm comfortable, and everything's going brilliant. But that's one thing I'd tell my younger self is get out of that comfort zone. And you know, the moment that is probably the most scary, I'd take it then. Because you know, 5, 10, 15 years down the track, I guarantee you won't forget it. It's almost like a life hack, you know, to success. Is just get out of your hometown almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the like mindset stuff I've consumed over time, that's a big one. Some of these like, when I say coaches, not just like some 22-year-old trying to sell you advice, like these guys that are successful athletes or successful businessmen.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and they're like in their 40s and 50s, and they're like, one of the biggest things that can pull you down is where you're from.
Yeah.
Move cities, become a whole new person, and build yourself
Yeah.
into life.
Yeah.
Because where you're from, not that they're bad people.
No, they're brilliant people. Yeah.
But they're happy there.
Yeah.
But if you want greatness,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen in this
No.
tiny
No.
alcove of the earth.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Same thing with my sister. She's a makeup artist. She started in Warwick doing Friends, and then it just escalated. She just had a room in the house. We'd all be sitting down watching TV. And so every 20, 30 minutes, knock, knock, knock at the door, here for Serena, here for Serena. Mate, now, 191,000 followers, travels the world, lives in Sydney. She's got a place in Brisbane, just done phenomenally for herself. And is not stopping there. She's always working on things like to get better. And if she's not happy where she is at the moment, she's going to keep working. And she you know, she's an inspiration to me because she's done it. I can do it.
100%.
Yeah.
I want you to introduce yourself. So, like, we know that you're a professional boxer. Like, my name's Jake Wyllie, and I'm a professional boxer. Like, we understand that. But, like, there's a reason that you're successful.
Yeah.
There's a reason that you've been able to accomplish what you've accomplished so far. And that's what I want you to, like, it's more your beliefs that
Yeah.
you introduce yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Same name. My name's Jake Wyllie. I'm a humble, hardworking, thoughtful, I'd say someone that you probably wouldn't look at to think it's a boxer. But, you know, through all of that, it's created something in the ring where it's needed most, and it makes I believe, a dangerous person in there. You know, my will to win, not to throw the towel in, to keep pushing. You know, it doesn't matter what life brings at me, in or outside of the ring, I will continue to do my best. You know, I've got lots of beliefs, and my dreams are endless for myself. I want the best for myself, my future family, my friends, and you know, as long as I find happiness here in the gym and the people around me, you know, that's achievable.
Fuck yeah. Thanks, man.
Good, brother.
That was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. That was good.
Dude.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. Jake is a top dude, so make sure you give him a follow. And if you haven't checked out my other interviews with the other athletes that I'm interviewing for my Project Immortals, be sure to head to my channel and check those guys out. Give us a subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.